coached high school basketball in Philadelphia, and so did she. He was an assistant coach at St. Joe's, and so was she. He won a national championship in the Big East, and so did she. They come from Philly's cradle of coaches, and tonight will coach against each other. It will be Gino Auriemma's UConn Huskies versus Muffet McGraw's Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It's next on CPTV. For the only time this season, we can say it's Saturday Night Live from Storrs. We are at Gamble Pavilion where the Notre Dame Fighting Irish take on the 5th-ranked UConn Huskies. And at 7-0 in conference play, UConn needs a win tonight to remain all alone in first place in the Big East. At 4-2, Notre Dame is in a tie for 5th place. And a very pleasant good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Picozzi along with Megan Kumo. Thanks so much for joining us for this matchup between the only two Big East schools who have ever won a national championship. Now, Megan, UConn has 2 players who were preseason all Big East selections. A third was preseason Big East freshman of the year, but it's a 4th different player who might be first in line when they actually give out all those awards.
Oh, yeah. Kalena Green was a virtual unknown last year, and she could be the best player on this team right now for sure. Certainly one of the best in the country. You look at the last 5 games, the reason her numbers are so up in those last 5 games is simply one thing, Bob, her confidence. Between her ears, she just feels her game is at a different level. And you can see why here. She's got a nice mid-range jumper, but perhaps what sets her apart from everybody in the country is her ability to crash the offensive glass. And while her coach, Gino Auriemma, says she doesn't play any defense, see the nice pick there, she can finish on the break. The kid can do a little bit of everything.
And like Kalena Green, Notre Dame also has someone who's having a breakout season.
Oh yeah, Sherelle Allen is having an unbelievable year, and the key is she's actually healthy this year. The problem last year, she had a bad knee. She was up and down the whole year coming back from that ACL injury. And the other thing about this kid, her coaches have convinced her to be a little bit more selfish. Certainly paid off in last week's numbers.
Notre Dame's last visit to Storrs was a memorable one. The Irish ended UConn's 55-game Gamble Pavilion winning streak. What will be in store tonight? Welcome back to Gamble Pavilion and the 24th meeting between UConn and Notre Dame. We'd also like to welcome our viewers who are watching us tonight around the country on CSTV. Let's check out the starting lineups. First for the visitors from South Bend. Talia Gaines is 9th in the Big East in assists, is 10th in steals. She averages 10 points a game. She's the point guard. And for UConn, Sharday Houston had a career-high 7 assists in the win over DePaul Wednesday, and she scored 17 of her 19 points in the second half. UConn has controlled this series history, although Notre Dame is one of the few teams to beat UConn here at Gamble Pavilion, and when they did, they ended a remarkable streak. UConn had won 112 straight regular season home games against Big East opponents. Jumping center, Tina Charles and Melissa D'Amico. Dennis DeMayo tossed it up. He's working tonight with Benita Spence and Margaret Lynch Gadaleta, and we are underway from UConn. Crystal Irwin, number 34, up top to D'Amico. This is Sherelle Allen. That's the key matchup, Megan. Kalena Green on Allen.
That'll be a tough assignment for Kalena Green. She can really prove to her coach what kind of defensive skills she has.
Charles with the early rebound, and Crystal Irwin with the first foul of the evening. There's a look at Charles, who when we last saw her went to the floor in a heap, holding her wrist on Wednesday night. She's okay. She did not come back in. Some full court pressure employed by Notre Dame. It really does a good job in turning teams over.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. They lead the Big East with 12 steals a game and force 21 turnovers.
On the miss, Brianna Gray runs down the rebound and gives the Gaines, the junior from North Las Vegas.
Notre Dame, Bob, is a team that often plays 2-3 zone, particularly over the last 10 years.
Left side three, no good. Irwin with the putback, and the rebound in traffic is pulled down by Houston. She had 7 of it on Wednesday.
A little more athleticism on this year's Notre Dame club. More man-to-man defense. Look for them to double a little bit more here tonight as Renee Montgomery turns it over out of bounds.
Muffet McGraw in her 20th season in Notre Dame, counting the 5 years at Lehigh before that. She's got 530 wins. And the most important of those 530, a win over Purdue in the 2001 NCAA championship game. Great backdoor cut by Gaines.
Oh, lack of communication by the Huskies, but nice execution offensively for the Irish.
Sherelle Allen with the assist. Notre Dame will try to trap you when they can. In the last 3 games, Notre Dame has committed 9 fewer turnovers per game than the opposition. Charles put it on the floor, accidentally kicked out of bounds by D'Amico. Gino Auriemma has the 3rd highest winning percentage in women's college basketball history, 83.7%. 2nd highest among active coaches, 2nd only to Pat Summitt. In case you're wondering, his first all-time is former Louisiana Tech coach Leon Barmore. Green, right side, Houston. Shot clock inside 10. Charles inside the lane.
That shot will be there all evening long.
Notre Dame really has no one to match up against Charles. Muffet McGraw told me we like to play some man. I don't think we can do it tonight. We have no one to guard Houston. We have no one to guard Charles.
Yeah, and then she also said she's concerned the way Kalena Green rebounds in the zone. It's tough to box out. Nice block.
Charles with the block, her 34th, 4th most in the Big East, and Montgomery finishes at the other end.
Montgomery is so savvy on the break, knowing when the defense is and is not set up. That time the Irish not set up defensively. She made him pay.
And Houston will get a foul. Just a little bit off on the timing for that steal attempt.
That would have worked on the gridiron, perhaps. But.
I don't know. I think that would have been 15 yards. Ball was in the air. Wouldn't have been illegal contact. That would have been the pass interference. Gaines will walk it up. UConn now showing 2-3 zone. Allen kick out. Irwin for 3. And a great box out by Green. Last touch by D'Amico. Kalena Green and Mel Thomas played the full 40 minutes the other night against DePaul. Of course, Thomas is one of these players who never seems to get tired.
Yeah, her expression never changes. She never looks like she's fatigued at all.
Here's Montgomery. Now, Montgomery only played 20 minutes the other night. She was in foul trouble. There's the steal by Gaines. Let's see if she can blow past Thomas. Little bit too far under the rim to convert. Now here's a 3-on-3 the other way. Montgomery, that's her favorite move on the break.
Yeah, she loves to take it on that right side. Defense not set at all.
I wonder what would happen if the defender only played her right hand there. Well, we haven't found out this year because no one's done it.
Yeah, no one has figured that out. Force it to the left, see what happens.
Allen down low, Irwin. Double team, shoots anyway.
That's great defense by Tina Charles. Bodied up, hands in the air.
2nd rebound by Charles. She's 9th in the Big East in rebounding. Bad pass by Montgomery. Down by Houston. Shoot tops.
Well, you know, we talked about this within the last 2 weeks. Renee Montgomery is being instructed by her coaching staff to start distributing more and not looking for her own shot as much. And as a result of that, we're seeing a little bit of indecision. Not really sure when to and when not to. And that's something that's going to take a little time. So we're going to see some turnovers.
Down low, tough catch in traffic by Allen, and she is fouled by Charles. First on Charles, and that will be number 2 on the Huskies.
See, sometimes it plays into your favor when you get a shot blocked, because Tina Charles had a block a couple possessions ago, and then, you know, blocks are a little bit contagious. So she went after that with a vengeance, trying to swat it again, and you know, more often than not, the officials will call fouls.
Muffet McGraw says that Sherelle Allen, we told her that she needs to look for her shot more and play a little less unselfishly, and she's taken that to heart, Megan. She's taken 281 shots, and that's about 130 more than any of her teammates.
Well, it's working. She's leading the team with 16 points a game. But she also gets 6 rebounds, a couple assists, a couple steals. She does a little bit of everything for this team.
Yeah, she's 4th in the league in steals. Left side jumper, Montgomery, her 2nd basket of the night. Montgomery last year, the Big East Freshman of the Year out of St. Albans, West Virginia, and she commits the blocking foul on the perimeter.
And I don't know if the crowd is booing because they don't think that's a good call. I mean, that's just not a smart foul.
No, not way out there. 1 on Montgomery, 3 on the team. But Montgomery's got it going at the other end. She's got 6 points early. It's UConn by 4. Notre Dame has missed 7 of its first 8 shots. Irish trail by 4. Notre Dame also missing a player that they felt entering the season might be their best player. Lindsey Schrader, she tore her ACL on the very first day of practice, just one of several key players in the Big East who are missing time this year. And in the case of Schrader, Bolger, and Wynn, they're missing the whole season.
Oh, yeah, and Bolger, that's her second knee injury. Mallory Wynn, you know, in the midst of all the great things that Pitt is doing, being ranked this year for the first time in a long time, they miss her greatly. But Schrader, yeah, as you indicated, coming into this season, they were hoping for great things from that young lady, and you just hope that she completely recovers from that ACL surgery and comes back next year better than ever.
Now, Muffet McGraw said when we lost Schrader, the kids didn't flinch, but instead each said, what can I do more to help out? And well, she likes that most about her team.
Yeah, and she loves this team, and that's a great indication of why. They're unselfish, and they play with a lot of passion.
Montgomery threw that ball right into the hands of Gaines. Left side jumper, Brianna Gray. Tough rebound, lost over the end line by Crystal Irwin.
And Gino Auriemma is upset, to say the least, at Renee Montgomery. And he's always the hardest on the point guards. And as I indicated before, I mean, she's going to be in a little tough stretch here, trying to decide when to distribute and when to shoot the ball. It may get ugly before it gets pretty.
Number 20, Ashley Barlow is in for Notre Dame. Very productive player off the Irish bench. And spinning on the baseline is Green, and she'll draw the foul. 52, Erica Williamson is also in there. And it may be Williamson that picked up that foul. Green will go to the free throw line to shoot a pair, and indeed the foul is on Williamson. Williamson has traveled all over the world literally because of her father's employment has forced the family to relocate a number of times. The family has lived in Indonesia, Morocco, Philippines, Singapore, and as a result she went 3 years in high school in Rochester, New York, 1 year in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she played on state championship teams in 2 different states in her junior and senior year. That doesn't happen very often.
Here's the magic question, though. Where does she call home?
Well, I hope she doesn't have to commute to Singapore after the game tonight. Actually, Notre Dame chartering home after the game. They're expecting one of those lake effect snowstorms. They're expecting a foot of snow in South Bend overnight. So the Irish are anxious to get out of town as fast as possible and get back there before the snow starts. Shot clock inside 10. Great cut without the ball by Gaines. The putback by Williamson.
This team is scoring more points than Notre Dame teams of recent past. They're scoring 72 points a game, and Muffet told me, she's like, Meg, I don't know how we do it. You know, sometimes I would think, you know, in the 60s, but you can see how they do it.
First shot of the night by Thomas, back rimmed it, and Charles does a good job of running down the rebound in front of the Notre Dame bench.
If you can play good defense and generate some offense from there, then you offensive rebound on top of that, well, you're going to generate some points.
Well, one way they generate points is off the bench. Bench outscoring the opponent's bench by 9 points per game. Montgomery with the miss, the offensive rebound Houston, but she traveled, dragged that pivot foot. UConn has turned the ball over 5 times already.
And that was a great example right there. As we've talked all year long that Gino Auriemma wants the team to look for Mel Thomas more. Well, Charnay Houston could have kicked that to Mel wide open out on the foul line extended behind the three-point line.
Houston will depart. Brittany Hunter checks in, so UConn going extra big with Hunter and Charles in there together. They don't play together that often. And Soignier in the backcourt replacing Montgomery. Montgomery's got 6 points, but has had some shaky ball handling in the early going. One thing Notre Dame does is they turn you over, and they keep very good care of the ball. So far tonight, turnovers, 5 for UConn, none for the Irish.
Well, over the last 3 games, they've only turned it over 11 times a game.
Shot clock down to 3. Sherelle Allen's going to have to let it fly, and she stepped on the end line. So no sooner did we say that, the Irish turned it over for the first time. Muffet McGraw replaced Gino Auriemma as an assistant coach under Jim Foster at St. Joe's when Gino made the move to Deb Ryan's staff at Virginia. Muffet was a terrific player at St. Joe's during her undergraduate days. Right side, Thomas. Up top, Soigné. UConn by 4. We've played 6:20. Here's Green. Foul line pull-up. Back rims it. Rebound kept alive. Loose on the floor. Held ball. Arrow pointing toward the Huskies.
See, Kalina Green's instincts are so good. Against the zone, you want to dribble, penetrate into the gaps, and she did that beautifully. The top of the key, and then the Huskies, all of them doing a good job of crashing the boards, and Kalina just hustling along with Erica Williamson.
Montgomery and Houston back in for UConn, replacing Charles and Thomas. Full 30 on the shot clock for the Huskies. Soigné. But a very productive game off the bench against DePaul the other night with 7 points, 4 assists, and 3 steals. Soigné to Green. Green finds Houston down low, uses the glass. Rebound off Hunter's hands, and it winds up in the lap of Barlow.
It was a good effort by Houston.
Gaines to Barlow. Had the wide open look, instead gives to Allen. And Barlow threw it behind. There's 2 turnovers for the Irish in their last 3 trips up the floor. 4 of Notre Dame's 6 points have come off UConn turnovers. As you mentioned, Megan, the Irish are averaging only 11 turnovers per game in their last 3, and during that same stretch, the opposition has averaged over 20 turnovers. So that's a +9 in football parlance. And it's, whether it's basketball, football, or baseball, you do well in the turnover margin category, and you enhance your chances to win immeasurably.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's simple when you think about it, but the more offensive opportunities you give yourself and obviously limit the other team's opportunities, the better off you're going to be. But, you know, you got to cash in on the offensive end, and Notre Dame is doing a good job of that, as I said before, scoring 72 points a game this year, which is a lot for this team.
Dennis DeMeo, veteran official, one of the tops in the country for a long, long time. I think it's our first time seeing him this year.
Yeah.
2-3 Irish zone. Ashley Barlow needed to get her a little help with her contact lens, and here's another foul on Williamson, her second and 3 on the team. Gamble Pavilion is sold out tonight. First sellout this year, 75th in the last 86 games.
Well, I think the fact that it's a Saturday obviously helps, and most times during the week it's at 7:30, which people don't get out of here until 9:30 or 10.
Well, UConn gets so many easy looks off inbound passes under their own basket. They didn't finish that time, but doesn't get much easier than that. Number 23, Kelly Leckleitner in the game. She comes from the shadows of the Notre Dame campus at St. Joseph's High School, lives in Mishawaka.
What a dream that must be growing up, huh? Whoa.
And we're going to get an offensive foul on Leckleitner using the elbow. Her first and 4 on the team.
First personal 14 foul.
So the Irish have now turned the ball over 3 times since we were explaining how they never turn the ball over. But Soigné turns it over herself. Soigné leads the Big East in assist to turnover ratio. She has 2.87 assists for every turnover.
Yeah, that was an unusual turnover there by Soigné, dragging the pivot foot. It's got a little sloppy.
Barlow to Irwin. Leckleitner tried to make the tough catch and managed to save it. Baseline jumper, Barlow for her first points of the day.
Notre Dame earned those points.
Of course, when you talk about growing up in the shadow of the Notre Dame campus, one of their greatest players ever, Jacqueline Batiste, right from South Bend. Down low, Houston on the spin. And Benita Spence is going to get a whistle and a foul on the Irish. Team foul number 5 on Notre Dame. First foul of the game on Talia Gaines. Irish coming off a road loss to Marquette. UConn coming off a home win over DePaul. The Huskies are 7-0 at Gamble Pavilion this season, and they're out to an early 2-point lead over the Irish. 10-8 UConn trying to beat Notre Dame for a 4th straight time.
Well, folks, stay with CPTV following tonight's game for ABBA and the Dixie Chicks. First, it's Super Troopers, 30 years of ABBA. The story of the group's early beginnings and their rise to international fame, followed by their unforgettable 1979 concert at London's Wembley Arena. Then at 11, the Dixie Chicks bring old favorites and new classics from the group's defiant, triumphant new album, ABBA and the Dixie Chicks, tonight following the game on CPTV.
Talk about defiant. I defy anybody to dress like that anymore. Do you have any of that stuff in your closet?
I don't think so.
People actually used to wear that? Well, I'm not old enough to remember it. UConn ball out of the timeout. Soignier's pass was down by Green's knees. Inside Houston, and D'Amico got a piece of the ball and evidently a piece of the arm. Number 1 on her, and 16 fouls on the Irish. UConn does not have a field goal since the 16:03 mark, so about 4.5 minutes without a field goal.
So it's got to speak volumes about their defense that Notre Dame has only got 8 points.
Sharday Houston had one of those stat stuffer games against DePaul. 19 points, 7 rebounds, and a career high 7. It says, and Mel Thomas, of course, her next game, UConn's next game, will be in Mel's hometown on Tuesday night in Cincinnati. We'll have it for you, 7 o'clock here on CPTV. Mel is from Mount Notre Dame High School, which is 9 miles to the north of the, what is it called? It's the 5th Third Arena, or is it the third fifth Arena? Third Fifth Arena. It's the name of a bank. I don't know what happened to 4th and how they got left out there, but we will be on hand for that one. They're expecting a good crowd. One of her high school teammates, Michelle Jones, the starting center for Cincinnati.
Nice pass.
Gorgeous left-hand pass, and the block shot for the Huskies.
The block was key, but coming up with the ball was even more impressive. Oh my gosh, 2 turnovers now for Soignier, unforced. His head might explode.
Right. Well, Gino, in talking this week about Soignier's value, having her in the game when Montgomery can't play, he said, if somebody said, well, can you have Mel bring the ball up the floor? I'd say, well, let me first get thrown out so I wouldn't have to watch that.
And he was just mad at his team because they're supposed to be trapping here. They missed an opportunity on the wing to trap the ball.
Leitner misses the 3. Sherelle Allen with the offensive board. And a reset. Down low, D'Amico, kick out Irwin. Irwin a bit of trigger happy on the 3s.
Hey, she may not have called bank, but who cares if it goes in?
Her 11th 3 of the year. And Notre Dame pulls within 1. UConn averages 81 per game. They're stuck on 12 halfway through the first half. Down low, Houston in the lane for the drop step. Had that not stayed.
Well, I was going to say that's typically a way to get yourself back on the scoreboard with Sharday Houston shooting the ball, but Huskies in a serious slump offensively with a thing that they've got to do, which they didn't do in the last 2 years, Bob, is they got to tighten it up defensively and try to get something off of their defense.
UConn is first in the Big East and 3rd in the country in scoring, averaging those 81.7 points per game. Leitner gets a step on Soignier. Irwin, another 3. Air ball, the rebound inside Barlow, and it was last touched by UConn. 13 seconds left in the shot clock for the Irish. Gino Auriemma just gave one of those swipe of the hands as if to say, I don't want to watch this anymore. Off the inbound, Allen, nice catch up Charles. That's her 3rd block shot. Soignier on the open floor, blocking foul on Barlow. The 1 on her, 7 on the Irish.
Charles just everywhere defensively, and then you see the speed of Keisha Soignier with the basketball. One of the fastest players in the league, but Barlow no slouch herself.
So Soignier will go to the line after the foul on Barlow. UConn has missed its last 7 shots. Tina Charles has now been credited with 5 block shots. First 10 minutes and 7 seconds.
Is that because it's here at UConn, or did she actually block 5?
Well, there it is. Now it's official.
All right.
It's on the CPTV screen.
If our stat guy has it, then it's legit.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Way to go, Russ.
And back in Montgomery replacing Green, Kylie McLaren is on the floor for the Huskies, number 41. Freshman from Washington, D.C. Kylie played in the WBCA All-Star game last April, and one of her teammates is Notre Dame freshman Ashley Barlow. I wonder if Kylie will keep that into consideration if Ashley comes driving down the lane.
Well, Tina may not, since Tina's team beat theirs.
Well, that time I think we're going to get Soignier. Yep, Soignier with the bump before McLaren had that wild hack at the ball. Number 1 on Soignier, and that will be number 4 on UConn. So to the free throw line will go Talia Gaines, whose younger brother Jashad was a freshman defensive back on the Notre Dame football team this fall. An outstanding athlete in high school, competed in the triple jump and went all the way to the state finals in that. Have you ever seen the triple jump?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
How do you do that?
I don't know. My knee sort of hyperextends just watching it.
I don't think the human body was meant to have that much quickness and agility. At least not mine.
Yeah, clearly. I know what you're talking about there.
Houston out to Montgomery. As we approach the 9-minute mark, Irish staying in that 2-3 zone.
Making it very difficult for UConn.
Traveling violation on Houston. That's 9 turnovers. 9 turnovers and 4 field goals for UConn through the first 1/4 of this game.
And a lot of the turnovers, those walks, you know, the walk we just saw there by Houston, and I'm serious, there may be an implosion any moment. But, you know, it's if the other team steals the ball and makes a great play, you can live with it. But when you make those
unforced errors,
the unforced turnovers, those are the ones that make coaches just go crazy.
When you keep hitting the ball into the bottom of the net. Shot by D'Amico, no good. Rebound Houston. Two teams really struggling shooting. Notre Dame 21%, UConn 36%. We'll get a kick, so the shot clock will stay where it is. And Green will come back in, replacing Houston. Houston departs with 2 points but 5 rebounds. UConn has won 3 in a row since losing at North Carolina. Huskies are 17-2. Their only losses to number 2 North Carolina and number 4 Tennessee. And UConn is now without a field goal for 7½ minutes. Montgomery to Soignier. Can she end the drought?
And if you're Notre Dame, that's the player you want shooting the 3. But she makes him pay, and she ends the long drought.
Only her 6th 3. She's shooting 18.5% from three-point range. And evidently all the fans when they entered tonight were given 3 placards. And it's a good crowd here tonight at Campbell. As Gaines starts to go, we get a whistle. Couple substitutions. What's this call?
Wow, offensive.
Is that what the call was? An offensive foul?
We're not sure on
Gaines? Or somebody said their screen off the ball. It was a walk. He said Dennis DeMayo told Megan it was a walk, and now we're being told it's an offensive foul on Dick. I think he was right. I'm going with him. He's got the whistle. Besides that, I didn't see a foul. Montgomery's shot is blocked by Allen. Gray tries to save, cannot. So, what do you say? First one to 21 wins, and then we all get out of here?
Yeah, you don't have to win by 2, though.
UConn by 5. It's a 5-point UConn lead, and we've straightened that situation out on the last Notre Dame possession. Indeed, it was a walk. Speaking of Notre Dame, there's Sherelle Allens, the Big East Player of the Week, and UConn's Tina Charles for the 3rd time this year is the Freshman of the Week.
Yeah, the 2 of them, both players, so much fun to watch. And as I mentioned earlier, Notre Dame is so psyched to have Sherelle Allens healthy this year. I mean, her freshman year, she made the Big East All-Rookie team and then hurt her knee going into her sophomore year and never really recovered. And this shows you what a healthy Sherelle Allens will do for this Notre Dame team.
Out of the timeout, McLaren did the hard part. Could not finish.
That play right there pretty much sums up this basketball game.
Well, between the 2 of them, they've combined for a whopping 9 field goals in the first 12 minutes. Williamson sets the high screen. Gaines gets a step on Thomas, then sets the screen for Gray. Long rebound, Allen with the putback. And Allen again. And we mentioned, Megan, that it will be a homecoming for Mel Thomas Tuesday in Cincinnati. It will be a homecoming Wednesday in Pittsburgh for Sherelle Allen. She's from Monessen, Pennsylvania, which is only 30 miles from Pittsburgh.
It's always great when you get to go home, and you just hope you got enough tickets.
Yeah. The miss by Swanier, and McLaren cleans up. First 2 points for McLaren, who was a McDonald's and WBCA All-American last year, her senior year at Our Lady of Good Counsel High School in Olney, Maryland, right outside Washington. Gaines directs traffic. High post, Williamson. Puts it on the floor and waits for help from a guard. Allen gets a step on Montgomery, and the foul will be called on Montgomery. That's her second, and number 5 on UConn.
Second personal foul, 15 fouls.
This kid is versatile, and she's not afraid of contact. Penetrates in the lane. I thought Renee Montgomery did a pretty good job of guarding that.
Allen, 5th best free throw shooter in the Big East at 83%. And like Sharday Houston, she had a phenomenally productive high school career. 3,110 points at Monessen High School, 5th most in Pennsylvania history. Now, I assume you're probably one of the 4 ahead of her?
We're going to just say no. Being from southeastern Pennsylvania, you know, we have different stats over there. But she's, you know, one of 8 to score.
You saying, or they had like 4-point layups in the Pittsburgh area? Is that it?
I'm embarrassed to say that 3-point line was instituted while I was in high school. It shows you how old I am.
3,110 points. Sharday had 3,837.
Well, you know, and there was 7 other players who scored over 3,000 points. Kelly Mazzanti and Michelle Marciniak, very familiar names to women's basketball fans. Mazzanti had a great career. She stayed local at Penn State. And Marciniak
started at Notre Dame and transferred to Tennessee.
That's right.
Allen with the tough pull-up and the one-hand rebound by Kalena Green. Her third. UConn has turned the ball over 10 times. Green gets a step on Irwin. And the rebound is pulled down by D'Amico, her first.
Well, I think it's safe to say this game will not go down as one of the prettier games we've ever watched.
Won't be seeing it on ESPN Classic anytime soon. And here comes Montgomery the other way. 5.5 minutes remaining first half. UConn by 3. Houston in the lane. And she'll go to the line. I think the foul will be on D'Amico. Or no, did you get Sherelle Allen from the other side? Yep. Her first, 8 on the team.
Well, you know, Bob, the key for both teams struggling from the floor, you know, everything seems like it's a struggle. And these are the games that you just have to stay tough, stay mentally focused, and just work on the little things and really take it one possession at a time.
Houston knocks down the first shot. Substitution, Mel Thomas back in. Ashley Barlow back in for the Irish.
You know, even that free throw is a pretty big deal. I mean, we've talked all year long at how bad UConn is from the free throw line. Sharday Houston only shooting 55%. You know, if she can knock this down, well, that would be a big step in a game where they're struggling everywhere.
UConn is 14th in the Big East, 246th in the country in free throw shooting at 64.9%. Tonight, they're a perfect 7 for 7.
Yeah, that means something. You know, those are just those little victories that you try to get.
However, the Huskies have tried to make up for it with the 10 turnovers. Allen with the miss, long rebound. Thomas gives to Montgomery. UConn has had virtually nothing in transition tonight.
You got to give Notre Dame a lot of credit. We talked about how they steal the ball and they force turnovers.
What is that?
That was a gift to the Notre Dame statistical department.
Houston just lost the handle.
But you know, you do have to give Notre Dame credit in that their defense makes it very difficult. I mean, in all the games we've done this year, we haven't seen UConn be this stagnant offensively. Well, some of it is UConn, but you know, a lot of it is Notre Dame.
Another turnover for the Irish, their 5th. Montgomery finds Thomas on the wing. Catch and shoot. Timeout, Muffet McGraw. That's the second three of the night for UConn. League-leading 51st for Thomas.
And that's a shot in the arm that the Huskies really needed right now. Montgomery finding Mel Thomas, which is what they talk about all the time, and giving Mel the ball in a position where she can jack up the three on the break. And the three against the defense, when the defense isn't set in a break like that, is absolutely back-breaking.
Last time Notre Dame was at Gamble Pavilion, January 30th, 2005. UConn had won 55 straight games at Gamble Pavilion. UConn had won 112 consecutive regular season home games against Big East opponents. And both of those streaks went by the boards that night as Notre Dame won it 65-59. One of only 5 losses for UConn at Gamble Pavilion in the last 14 years. And the last game that UConn had lost at home in the regular season to a Big East opponent before that was February 27th, 1993 against Georgetown. So like clockwork, every 12 years they lose a home game in the regular season to a conference opponent. That was a big win for the Irish. Out of the timeout, Notre Dame with the ball down 8. Biggest lead of the night for the Huskies. Barlow pull-up 3. And we're going to get a rebound foul inside on the Huskies. Charday Houston, her second and 6.
There she got caught, yeah, pushing on the back with her hands. You know, if you want to try to push your defender or your offensive players, you're trying to box out there on the defensive end, use your leg, use your thigh to push them underneath the hoop. And keep your hands up in the air. The officials won't call it if you push with your body.
Another good way is when you're in traffic, you keep your forearm by their waist and you push as hard as you can when the official's not looking.
That's helpful.
That's the way I used to coach in the Cheshire Recreation League. Inside, the shot by Williamson is up and in with the left hand. So my imagination is Notre Dame always have a player that looks just like Williamson.
Yeah.
The red hair, the freckles.
It's the Irish thing, right? You always have to have someone who looks really Irish on the team.
12th turnover for the Huskies. So their field goals still haven't caught up to the turnovers yet. 6-point lead. Left side, Leitner. Pull-up jumper and the foul. Chance for a 3-point play.
And if that's on Charday Houston, that is number 3.
And it is foul number 3 on Houston. When we come back, Leitner will have a chance to trim the UConn lead to 3.
Sunday morning on CPTV, the new legislation for student loans, the minimum wage, and stem cell research were part of the Democrats' first 100 hours. Hear from U.S. Congressman John Larson and Chris Murphy on Front and Center with Ray Hardman. And back in Connecticut with their veto-proof majority, will the State House Democrats play nice? This week on the record, our guest, Democratic House Speaker Jim Amon. Watch Front and Center with Ray Hardman and On the Record Sunday morning starting at 10 on CPTV.
Now, among the legislation they're considering, they're not considering that dopey legislation about outlawing the male practice players for women's basketball, are they?
I don't believe so.
Let me just go on record as I'm against it, against the legislation.
We're both against it. We don't have a vote anywhere, but.
Never heard of such a dumb idea. Leitner with the free throw, trims the lead to 3. UConn has both point guards on the floor now with Montgomery and Soigné. Soigné to Montgomery. Shot clock at 10. Entry pass, not a very good idea. Soigné usually shows much better judgment than that.
Well, and you know, a lot of that has to go to Notre Dame because a good zone will make an offense stand around.
Timeout Notre Dame, as Barlow did a good job avoiding the held ball and a potential turnover. Now, if you'll notice, a lot of people in the building, particularly the coaches and some of the fans, are wearing pink. And that's because the Women's Basketball Coaches Association has encouraged its membership and all coaching staffs and game day support staff to help unify women's basketball world in a support for the fight against breast cancer awareness, and in large part, and it was really triggered by The long battle with breast cancer being waged by North Carolina State head coach Kay Yow, the Hall of Famer. She's had a recurrence of it. She just returned to coaching last week for the first time. But there you see all of Gino's wearing a pink shirt.
Got a pink tie. CD's got a whole
tie, right.
pink ensemble.
Right. And the two announcers tonight are wearing the breast cancer awareness logo on our lapels. There's Chris Daly, who probably spent 5-6 hours debating which pink outfit to wear tonight. We'll get the scouting report at halftime. Montgomery with the miss. And it was last touched by the Irish. 2:27 to go, first half. UConn in a real battle with the Irish. Up 3. Last year, UConn eliminated Notre Dame in the quarterfinals of the Big East tournament. Thomas, second three of the night.
She was ready to shoot that ball the second she caught it. You know, so much of the preparation before you catch the ball is the key.
She now has 154 career threes, 8th most in UConn history. Needs 8 more to jump ahead of your former teammate Carrie Baskin to 7. Montgomery with the steal. She's 3rd in the Big East with 50 of them. Inside 2 minutes, UConn by 6. Down low block Charles. They immediately double team, and as a result, they force the turnover. Great weak side help by the 5'7" Leckleitner.
And Tina Charles was calling for the ball, but see, as you mentioned, that double team, when you put the ball on the floor, those little pesky guards can come down and steal it. You gotta know where they're coming from and try to pass the ball to where they came to make them pay for leaving their area of the floor.
14 first half turnovers for UConn, who was 3rd in the Big East in turnover margin. Very atypical. Leckleitner, wild shot with the left, and Thomas with her second rebound. Montgomery to Soignier. Left side, Soignier, baseline, Brittany Hunter. And the rebound to Sherelle Allen, her 4th of the night. Allen just 1 of 8 from the floor tonight. And we'll get a travel on the Irish. It's contagious. 7 on Notre Dame. That time Barlow called for the travel. Muffet McGraw said of UConn, so many teams in the Big East are bunched together except for UConn. They could go undefeated in the conference.
She may reassess that statement after this game.
Big test for UConn a week from tonight in Milwaukee against Marquette. Marquette 7-1 in the league. UConn 7-0 entering the game. We'll have that for you 8 o'clock next Saturday night on CPTV. Soignier back rims it. Rebound Green and a foul. They're going to get Green for the foul.
Brittany Hunter. And I think in a bizarre way, I think Brittany Hunter actually fouled Kaleda Green on that play. At least she's knocked the ball away from her.
So the foul on Hunter, her first 8 on the team. So D'Amico will go down the other end to shoot the 1-and-1. 6'5" junior out of William Floyd High School in Manorville, New York. Notre Dame, one of only 4 teams in the country to beat UConn 3 times in the last 12 years. Care to guess who the other 3 are?
North Carolina.
Yep.
And Tennessee.
Yeah, and one more. The other one should be easy.
Rutgers.
You got it.
All right.
Then a gold star on Megan, except it would clash with the pink logo.
I'll just stay with a pink ribbon.
Inside the final minute, and Notre Dame turned it over. UConn scored, and Notre Dame stepped over the end line on the inbound.
You know, these are the little plays that you need. This is the boost of adrenaline that could take you from a miserable 20 minutes and lead you into the locker room feeling pretty good about yourselves.
Thomas low block Hunter, triple team, passed out of it. Notice she didn't put it on the floor. Montgomery, Green losing her legs to try to create some space inside, and Montgomery called for turning the ball over in her hand.
And that quickly, the adrenaline and the momentum just poof up in the air.
15th turnover for UConn. About a second difference shot clock, game clock. Let's see if the Irish try to run it down all the way, down 6. Huskies have done a great job on Allen. They've held her to 6 points on 1 of 8 shooting. But 15 turnovers have killed UConn.
Well, yeah, I think defensively on the whole, the Huskies have done a good job of holding Notre Dame to 23 when they averaged 72 a game.
Allen threw it right into Montgomery's hands. Still time to make something happen with 4, but then reaching right in is Gaines, and she gets the held ball. What a great defensive play by Talia Gaines. Arrow pointing toward UConn with 1.1 to go.
And here's the difference. If this play doesn't happen, well, she gets the nice steal. The great defensive play here by Gaines, but then, you know what? Now UConn won't get the ball to start the second half. Notre Dame will get the ball because of that play. Those are the little things that make a really big difference.
Regina Oriama's club shot 39%. They had 9 field goals, and they had 15 turnovers in the first half. Ugly, ugly first half of basketball here at Gamble Pavilion. UConn leads by 6, trying to extend its winning streak to 4. 15 first half turnovers for UConn, who leads Notre Dame 29-23 at halftime. Bob Picozzi back at Gamble Pavilion. Megan Kumo is with the associate head coach of the Huskies, Chris Daly.
Thanks, Bob. CD, okay, that first half, you would think if you hold a team to 23 points, you'd be in really good shape. What concerns you the most here?
Well, the fact that we had 15 turnovers, you know, that means we went down the floor and didn't get a shot 15 times, and they're doing a good job packing it in. We've got to be more deliberate. We've got to make some open shots, and we have an advantage in the lane, and we just haven't taken advantage of it. We've been dribbling it, they're double teaming. We're just not reading what they're giving us and taking advantage of it.
All right, well, hopefully for your sake, you'll change that in the second half, and I'm sure you'll have everything to do with it.
Well, no, I won't, but we're up, which is surprising in itself, but we've got to do a great job again defending them and just really become more aggressive, maybe get some buckets in transition so that we don't have to run again, you know, run offense against their zone.
All right.
All right.
Second half.
Thanks. Back to you, Bob.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. And without further ado, let's check out the first half highlights. Nice look inside Sherelle Allen to Talia Gaines for her only basket of the first half. The putback off the bench from Erica Williamson for 2 of her 4. At the other end, we mentioned Kalena Green at the very beginning of the telecast. She goes baseline, comes out the other side, reverse layup, but that was her only field goal in 19 minutes. Renee Montgomery on the drive for 2 of her 6 points. Mel Thomas 2 for 3 from 3-point range. She scored 6 first half points. But as we look at the statistics, the big story for UConn, the turnover margin. How about Notre Dame, Megan? 23% from the floor, and they're only down 6.
Muffin McGraw has got to be thrilled at this point, because to shoot the ball that way, not get any points in transition, and yet you're down 6 to, you know, the number 7 team in the country. You know, I can take that.
Notre Dame ball to begin the second half. Allen, rough first half. She was just 1 for 8 from the floor, and the first possession results in what else? A turnover, the 10th for the Irish. UConn with the ball. Huskies 17-2, 7-0 in the Big East. They need a win to keep first place all to themselves. The block shot by D'Amico. Charles with the putback.
That's a big play for not only Tina Charles, but for this Connecticut team. You got to stay with it. The nice entry pass away from the defense. Tremendous block there inside by D'Amico, and Charles just stayed with it. I mean, that's the key.
Second foul on D'Amico, first on the Irish here in the second half.
You know, Bob, oftentimes it's not the first, you know, the defense, it's the first opportunity, but it's the second and third opportunities when you actually end up converting. You know, it doesn't always happen on the first try.
Charles only with 4 points tonight. UConn an unsightly 10 of 26 from the floor. Brianna Gray defended by Thomas. Right side, Crystal Irwin. Shot clock inside 10. D'Amico to the cutter, Gaines. Kick out, Gray for 3. Weak side rebound, Irwin.
Well, the offense itself, even though the shot didn't go in from 3-point range, it was beautifully executed offense, and credit to Notre Dame for crashing the glass.
UConn out-rebounding Notre Dame 24-17. The Huskies first in the Big East, 4th in the country in rebound margin. Thomas barely grazes the iron on that 3-point attempt. Here's Gaines. Notre Dame with the ball down 6. Allen As she went up, the shot was blocked by Green, who then struggles to get her balance, then is knocked off balance to the floor by Allen. Second on her and 2 on Notre Dame.
Once again, that play pretty much tells the story of this entire game. It hasn't been pretty, tripping, finally getting a hold of it, getting tripped again. That pretty much sizes up the first 22 minutes of this game.
Thomas on the left, feeds Charles down low. She's double teamed, passes out of the double team to Houston. Misses, gets her own putback, missed badly. And then Charles with the putback.
Well, the key there, Sharday Houston a little bit late, but Charles, the great pass out of what looked like nearly a triple team, but you got to move, her teammates have got to move well without the ball. If there's 3 people on her, well, then obviously someone else is going to be open.
Irwin looks inside, nothing there. We've played 2 minutes second half, UConn by 8. And the pass over the head of Sherelle Allen from Crystal Irwin. It's been a very busy day in the Big East. 4 games this afternoon. Marquette beat Cincinnati. So Marquette now 7-1 in the conference. Half game behind UConn. Seton Hall with the surprising home win over Pittsburgh. Panthers slipped to 3-4. St. John's with a win at Villanova. Rough year for the Wildcats. They have only 1 win as Houston finishes inside. West Virginia beat Georgetown. The Hoyas also only with 1 win. Muffet McGraw wants to stop it right here. 10-point UConn lead is the biggest of the night. Huskies have yet to turn the ball over in the first 2:35 here in the second half. Well, I hope you're also watching CPTV on Tuesday night when UConn plays in Cincinnati.
You could do it on, by the way, you could do it on the computer. You could stream from California.
Or from Jamaica, New York, the hometown of Tina Charles.
Well, the long arms, she can block so many shots. She is so quick, great instincts, and I like how she doesn't hang her head. She stays with this after the shot got blocked, and then Houston came up short. But once again, there to pick up the garbage was Tina Charles. And, you know, when you're struggling offensively and you're not shooting the ball well as a team, the way to keep yourselves in it is just offensive rebound.
Biggest lead of the night for UConn is 10. Let's see if they can build on it. Notre Dame out of its timeout. Gaines. Kick out. Leckleitner back in off the bench. Back to Gaines for the dribble drive. Rebound off Charles's hand. She then saves for Montgomery. Montgomery has Thomas left, finds her. Good job by Allen to get out on the shooter. Dumps it down to Houston. Spins and shoots over Williamson, but it's called for the travel. Turnover number 16 for UConn.
You know, Chris Daly alluded to this at halftime. Notre Dame has done a really good job of taking away the post game for the Huskies, and they're just doubling. Muffet told me they were going to double in the post, and they're doubling and sometimes triple teaming.
UConn had only 10 points in the paint in the first half. Leckleitner. Rebound inside Williamson. Williamson again, and when she went up the second time, a foul was called. Could be Green. It is. Number 1 on her.
The thing that, and the crowd is booing, and it's understandable because Dennis DeMeo made that call from out by Muffet McGraw. He's way at the top of your screen. Now let's see. The foul comes in from the right side. Kalena Green gets called. I mean, that was all ball. And even more frustrating is that the call came from way out top. Anita Spence was standing right there.
So to the free throw line, Williamson, the 6'4" freshman, who at least when she left on this trip was still living in Charlotte. We mentioned that her family has moved quite a bit. Indonesia, Morocco, Philippines, and Singapore. That sounds like a bad deal from a travel agent there, huh? Oh boy, do I have a trip for you. Green, reversal to Montgomery, and she drags the pivot foot. 17th turnover for UConn.
How many walks, Bob, have we seen here tonight? Far too many to count.
So Gina Auriemma will try sitting down again.
I think he's moved into nausea.
Williamson down low, blocked by Charles. That was her 6th of the night. Quickly, it's Green. And if she goes, she'll draw the foul on Gaines. With that block, Charles equaled her career high. She had 6 against Virginia in December.
You know, the athleticism of Kalena Green is pretty impressive. She caught that ball and only took 1 dribble from the 3-point line. Maybe out even a little bit. I mean, the kid is just a stud.
Second foul on Gaines. 3 on the Irish. Gina Auriemma says Kalena is able to create her own offense, whether it's to go get a shot that she wants, to get a shot off the dribble, or to offensive rebound. It has just really been a breakout year for Green.
And again, you know, you see the 2 steals a game. He jokes about how she can't play defense, that she can't guard a chair, but the kid, I think she can play defense, and I'm sure, you know, his sarcasm, that's his way of getting to his players. Make statements like that to just fire them up a little bit.
Gaines down low. Boy, McLaren got away with a foul there.
Oh.
That would have been a penalty in hockey. And we finally do get a foul inside, and it's going to be called on Notre Dame.
I think it's on Irwin.
And they're working Rosemary Regal, the UConn trainer. Looks like she's going to rewrap Sharday Houston's left ankle. We'll keep our eye on that. Part of the sellout crowd on a Saturday night at Gamble Pavilion. Bob Picozzi along with Megan Kumo. UConn leading Notre Dame by 11, and we are seeing several of the outstanding first-year players in the Big East on the floor tonight.
Well, I think it's impressive that Barlow comes in. She's making half of her threes and shooting and scoring 10 points a game. For a freshman to come in and do that in the college game is impressive. 8 rebounds for Williamson, and for Leitner to pass the ball and distribute like she is. That's impressive to make that transition from high school to college. And then this young lady, we've seen her do some incredible things already. And
you saw the name Carla Jacobs from Cincinnati on your list. We will see her Tuesday night at, what is that again, 3rd, 5th Arena? Is that what we decided?
I have no idea.
3rd, 5th Arena, 7 o'clock on CPTV. Someone's going to have to make out a great big sign for me and just hold it in front of my face all night on Tuesday. 3rd, 5th Arena. Green with the jumper, but first, of course, the obligatory travel. And that'll be the 18th turnover. Gina Auriemma. What is that? What did that come from?
This is it is 5th, 3rd Arena. I wrote it in my calendar.
Well, I thought it was 3rd, 5th Arena. Barlow down low. Williamson lays it up and in. Erica Williamson with 7 points off the bench tonight. So Notre Dame hanging around, down 9. UConn with 18 turnovers. Their season high is 25. Charles down low. Called for the travel. Turnover number 19.
And Gino's yelling at Tina Charles to go middle. And not turn baseline down there, because you turn baseline, you got nowhere else to go. At least if you turn middle, if you're not open to shoot it, you can pass to an open teammate on the opposite wing.
Barlow driving, and Charles and McLaren were both there. Who are we going to give credit for the block shot there?
I
give
think
it to Charles?
Yeah.
If so, that's a new career high with her 7th.
It's that long wingspan Tina Charles has. It was a good take. It's tough to tell, but I do think that Tina Charles did knock that ball away.
Williamson with the turn, and Hunter comes away with it. Green, look at her explode to the goal.
Wow.
Oh, she exploded too much. Offensive foul. So Green picks up foul number 3. Houston had 3 in the first half and had to spend a good portion of it on the bench. 2 team fouls for the Huskies. That's the turnover story for UConn for the season and so far tonight. Down low, Williamson touch.
That ball
catch.
got through. I don't know how it got through. It was hit by a UConn player.
Williamson with 9 points off the bench. Well, That graphic before we showed you, what did it say? Impact freshman. She's having quite an impact here in the second half. She was on the list. Down low, Brittany Hunter nearly lost it, then laid it in for her first points of the night.
Yeah, it's difficult tonight for UConn to complete a pass.
20 turnovers and 12 field goals for UConn. And they're winning by 9. Inside Williamson was too far under the hoop.
See, that's a freshman shot. As she gets more experience, she'll catch and she'll go up and she'll score and get fouled.
Hunter in the lane, blocked by Williamson, but a foul is called.
That was a pretty good block, I thought, by Williamson. She moved her feet nicely.
It will be on her, though, her third and number 5 on the team. And Hunter will go to the free throw line.
You see, better to go middle, but see the double team comes and Williamson guarded it, I thought, really, really well. Moved her feet. Looked like she got the ball with her hand.
Of course, Brittany Hunter only averages 11 minutes a game because of her knee, and Gina Auriemma says if you play only 11 minutes, you can't afford 4 bad ones. Brittany doesn't have the luxury of taking 3 or 4 minutes to get into the game. It's a good point.
That is, yeah, you don't think about that, but you know, she comes in and she's got to really maximize every second she's out there.
Barlow rebounds the missed free throw. UConn by 10. We've played 7 minutes second half. Barlow, nice feed inside. D'Amico wasn't ready. Hit her right in the hands.
It was a beautiful play. Obviously, D'Amico thought she was going to shoot it. She had perfect inside rebounding position.
12th turnover for Muffet-McGraw's club. Notre Dame is a very productive bench. Their bench is outscoring opponents' benches by 9 points per game this year. McLaren in the lane. Gray tried to draw the offensive foul, but none of the officials were buying it.
And let's be honest, McLaren could get called for far more fouls than she does just because she's just physically bigger than so many players.
Biggest lead of the night for UConn at 12. D'Amico sets the high screen, then rolls for the hoop,
nice
but it
help.
wasn't a very good pass.
There was good help there, too, by Brittany Hunter.
Soigné. Hunter looked like she wasn't expecting it, but a tough catch inside. Wow. That wasn't easy at all. Timeout, Muffet-McGraw, who's coming all the way out to midcourt to greet Talia Gaines and having a one-on-one conversation with her point guard.
Well, we mentioned this earlier, UConn not lighting it up, passing the ball here this game, but you see there the nice help by Hunter. Runs the floor really well. Not a terrific pass, not as bad though as it looked the first time around. That's where we get this replay, which helps put things in perspective, and Brittany Hunter went up pretty strong with it.
Hunter with 5 points off the bench.
That's what the Huskies have to do, Bob. They got to get stuff in transition. As Chris Daly said at halftime, I mean, their half-court offense is really struggling right now.
We mentioned that the last time Notre Dame was here, they broke UConn's 55-game Gamble Pavilion winning streak. Well, just to show you how dominant the Huskies have been in this building, they've won 126 of their last 128 games at home. That's both Hartford and Gamble against Big East opponents. They've won 73 out of their last 75 games here at Gamble. The only losses in that stretch, the game to Notre Dame we mentioned, and a game to Rutgers. So they have been a tough out in this facility over the years. 226 and 17. The shot no good. Rebound McLaren, held ball, arrow pointing toward UConn. And I think the most memorable meeting, Megan, other than the one in the Final Four, obviously, when Notre Dame came from 15 down to beat UConn by 15 in the national semis in 2001, was the Big East championship game in here in 2001. UConn won that one when Sue Bird made a shot at the buzzer. She drove from one end of the floor to the other and made about a 12-foot, 15-foot fadeaway at the buzzer to give UConn another Big East title.
See there how Brittany Hunter turned to the baseline. That's exactly what Notre Dame wants. You got to turn middle so you can kick the ball opposite.
Maybe the field goals will never catch up to the turnovers. 15 field goals, 21 turnovers.
Although the pictures might indicate it will be all sweet and nice in a this is your life kind of an event. It is, after all, called a roast. And the man in the spotlight getting roasted and toasted is Gino. Wednesday, April 11th at the AquaTurf in Southington. Call or click to reserve your tickets.
Tina Charles has been credited with 9 block shots tonight. She has tied the UConn record, first set by Rebecca Lobo against Seton Hall 1995, and tied by Kelly Schumacher against Tennessee in the 2000 NCAA championship game. And she's got 11.5 minutes to add to the total. Air ball, and there's Brittany Hunter with the block shot.
I wonder if you can put in the stat sheet that she blocked it with her elbow.
Hunter and McLaren on the floor. Of course, UConn is a lot of people they can throw at you in the post there when you think about it. Charles, Hunter, McLaren.
And they're all so different.
Nice feed. Houston to Hunter. She couldn't finish. Substitution Notre Dame. Irwin back in. Allen back in. And Williamson back in. It's been a rough night for Sherelle Allen. 1 for 9 from the floor. 6 points. 4 of 4 from the line.
Well,
McLaren sits.
Yeah, I mean, Bob, you knew the Huskies came in with their eye on containing Sherelle Allen and not letting her get her numbers of 16 points a game.
Right. Well, of course, they had a similar thought with Candace Parker, and that didn't work too well. Leckleitner starts to go. Parker just might be the best player in the country. Irwin with her second 3 of the night. Where'd that come from?
Wow, she had 10 coming into the game. She's picking a good time to start lighting it up.
Irwin's got 8. Senior from Rancho Cucamonga, California, and another travel call on the Huskies. They're 22 or 21 turnovers.
And Gino's trying to, he's imploring the officials that she was held and fouled, which led to the walk.
Williamson down low, and Hunter with another block. Then Williamson tried to save and did.
That's good heads-up play by Williamson. I love when kids do that. They get the shot blocked, and it was a nasty block, but she stayed with it and saved the ball. Watch this, great help from Hunter coming over from the weak side. But you know what? Williamson didn't care. She kept playing and knocked the ball off of Mel Thomas. UConn
has 14 block shots tonight. Deflected out of bounds, and Notre Dame will inbound one more time. Charles with the 9 blocks, which is tied a record. And as I look here, the most blocked shots by a Big East team this year, Rutgers blocked 17 against Mississippi. And UConn's 14 is the second most blocked shots in the Big East this season.
Well, we just saw Brittany Hunter go to the bench, and those were some pretty good minutes that Hunter put in there. A couple blocks, she scored. Disrupted some things for Notre Dame.
Leckleitner tried to beat the clock, and we get the air ball and the shot clock violation, number 14 on the Irish.
You know, this Leckleitner is a tremendous player. I mean, she's a freshman coming in, playing all these minutes. She's averaging about 24 minutes a game, but getting some key minutes against a pretty good backcourt with the Huskies. Had a great game against St. John's where she had 9 assists and no turnovers.
Her older sister Amanda played basketball at Southern Indiana. Her brother Kyle is a pole vaulter at Indiana. And Mel Thomas knocks down her third 3 of the night.
And credit that bucket to Keisha Soignier, who could have shot the 3 from the top of the key. Instead, she penetrated and kicked. Great decision.
53rd 3 of the year for Thomas. Most in the Big East. Allen still looking for her second field goal. Williamson with a great hustle rebound, and Charles blocked the shot but also got a piece of Williamson. So for Tina Charles, her second foul, and 4 on UConn this half. So going to the free throw line will be Williamson, who's probably been Notre Dame's best player on the floor tonight.
She really has, and another freshman who again, I think it's harder as a big guy because the game is so much more physical. What helped her, I think, was going to the Pete Newell big man camp over the summer. She and D'Amico both went to the camp out in California. That makes a big difference. A lot of big guys go to Pete's camp.
Pete Newell, the great Hall of Fame coach, coached California Golden Bears to a national championship in 1959 and is generally regarded as the greatest one-on-one instructor with post play. Also someone that Bob Knight absolutely worships. So that's got to say something. Green gets the friendly rim.
And I love to see the fist pump from Kalena Green, because the kid doesn't show a lot of emotion. And for her to get there, now the only other time I saw her do that was in the middle of that run in the second half of the North Carolina game. But they need that from her.
Thomas with great anticipation with the steal, lead pass Houston. Nice over the shoulder catch. Oh, that's got to be an intentional foul. It is. Irwin just shoved Houston into the stanchion.
And
so
dangerous.
Houston's going to shoot 2, plus UConn's going to get the ball.
And I don't think there was any malintent there. We laughed at the DePaul game when an intentional foul was called late. That was not an intentional. This, on the other hand, pushed her in the small of her back, and that's a good usage, I think, Bob, of that rule.
Right. But the only thing I would say is probably better in that situation if you just grab the player.
Absolutely.
The idea is you don't want to give him a layup, and you can understand that completely. But if you just grabbed him, then you would prevent the player from possibly getting injured. So Houston will go to the line to shoot 2, and the Huskies will get the ball. The foul on Crystal Irwin is her 3rd, and the wheels are kind of coming off for the Irish here with 8:49 remaining. And Irwin will come to the bench. Irwin, a senior who is engaged to be married to a Marine, Jamel Booth, who's stationed at Camp Pendleton in California. Crystal's from Rancho Cucamonga.
Nice pass.
Charles with the finish.
Well, it's funny, with 8.5 to go, they finally figure out how to get inside this Notre Dame zone defense.
Charles with 8 points, 9 rebounds, and the 9 block shots. So you do the math. She's not too far away from a triple-double.
That's a great take by Lightlight.
Houston. Cross-court pass. Soigné nearly stole it. Good hustle play by Williamson. So the 23rd turnover for the Huskies. 2 away from their season high. Allen with the pull-up. UConn giving her no easy looks, Megan.
No, and
None.
that's the intention, but it's the intention every time. But they are doing just a phenomenal job of making it very difficult for her.
Green with the jumper. She's got 10, so she's in double figures for the 14th time this year and the 6th consecutive game.
The more emotion that Kalena Green plays with, the more unstoppable she will become.
Gaines. Allen from the elbow. Air ball. Rebound Green. Her 7th. Soigné. Tried to hand to Charles. Soigné having a rough night handling the basketball.
Well, she tried to flip that underneath, and the ball had such a weird spin on it.
Leitner with the off-balance shot using the glass.
I love this kid.
7 minutes to go. UConn by 16. Leitner with 7 points off the bench. Deflected out of bounds by Barlow. Kalena Green entered the game averaging 19.4 points in her last 5 games. She's got 10 points and 7 rebounds tonight. Huskies pulling away, and Green adding to her resume. All right, whose birthday is it there? Hold that sign steady, will you? It's my birthday. Yippee.
She's
well,
12.
happy birthday.
She's got a broken wrist.
Sam Swan. How do you know that?
Oh, she's got a cast on her arm.
Oh, where does it say that? Well, what do I know? I still don't know the name of the arena. By the way, the name of the arena in Cincinnati is Fifth Third Arena.
I did try to tell you that.
Official.
You didn't believe me.
Okay, the importance of this game. UConn needs the win to occupy first place all by itself because Marquette is catching up in a hurry.
And that's going to be a huge matchup. When is that, next
Saturday night, 8 o'clock, right here on CPTV from Milwaukee at the Al McGuire Center. And that place is going to be hopping. Now, Marquette has a very tough game between now and then. On Tuesday night, they have to play at Rutgers, and Rutgers is 5-2.
Never easy to play at the rack.
Houston is doing her best to create that 25th turnover, and she tried real hard. Instead, we'll get a foul
help,
on the Irish.
A little help with some of those blue jerseys fouling her.
Foul on Barlow. It'll be number 2 on her, 7 on the Irish. So that means Charday will go to the line to shoot the 1-and-1.
And as I said earlier, she's a 55% free throw shooter, and
which is hard to believe.
It is.
You know, when you think about it, you know, it's easier to make jump shots in practice. Easier to do everything in practice except free throws. The only thing that's different about free throw shooting in a game in practice is there are people in the stands.
Right, and
it's the
pressure.
Same distance, it's the same rim,
yeah.
And no one's got a hand in your face.
Yeah.
They're not guarding you. It's probably the only thing about basketball where the components are almost identical in practice and in the game. Allen finally knocks down a jump shot.
Well, yeah, it obviously makes a difference. There's a bunch of people. Yep. The depth perception is different. Pressure is different. Oh.
Houston called for the travel, and UConn has now equaled its season high with its 25th turnover. They had that many also against North Carolina, Purdue, and West Virginia. And they still have more turnovers than field goals tonight. 19 field goals and 25 turnovers. Of course, when you think of Notre Dame, you think of a lot of things. You think of Newt Rockne. You think of the great Irish football teams. Some of the famous alumni. Condoleezza Rice received her graduate degree from Notre Dame. Phil Donahue, Regis Philbin. Gee, I never know Regis went to Notre Dame. He's never mentioned that.
And I got to tell you, there are a lot of people in the Northeast who may like Norm the best. George Wendt, who played Norm on Cheers. People in the Boston area, that could be the favorite alum of people up here in this neck of the woods.
Of course, George Wendt, a huge Cubs fan. The current president of the Chicago Bears, who are in the Super Bowl, Ted Phillips, is a Notre Dame graduate. Also, many members of our profession have come out of Notre Dame from the media. Hannah Storm, Ted Robinson, Tim Ryan.
Hannah Storm, a Connecticut resident.
Shot clock did not recycle. It's down to 10. And the foul will be called on Green. That will be her 4th. And 5 on UConn here in the second half. Next up for the Irish will be Pittsburgh on Wednesday night, and I would imagine Pittsburgh, currently ranked 23rd in the country, will probably exit the top 25 following its loss at Seton Hall today. This, by the way, is the second of 3 straight road games against top 25 teams for Notre Dame. It's the only time in their history they've had such a stretch. The putback by Williamson, no good, but she is hit hard, and she'll get to the line.
Yeah, I think she got an elbow to the nose.
Thomas with the foul. So think about that. Notre Dame women's basketball has been around for a long time, and Notre Dame always plays one of the toughest schedules in the country. But this is the first time in their history they're playing 3 straight ranked opponents on the road. It began with their loss at Marquette on Tuesday, continuing tonight, and then, of course, by the time they play Pittsburgh on Wednesday, that may no longer be applicable. But as of now, it is.
And you see, you talk about how long they've been playing. That patch on their jersey indicates that this is a 30th year of
women's basketball.
Yeah. And the 35th of women's athletics.
The Irish joined the Big East in the 1995-96 season, and they were easily UConn's biggest challenge in Notre Dame's early years in the league. They met 4 times in the Big East championship game in the first 6 years, and UConn won them all.
But they were great battles.
But then Notre Dame beat UConn in the Final Four in St. Louis in 2001. And who knows, maybe they prevented UConn from becoming the first women's team to win 4 straight national championships.
Yeah, that was the infamous Diana Taurasi 1 for 15.
As a freshman.
Yeah, 3-point shooting.
Ruth Riley, of course, is a great player for the Irish on that team. The shot no good by Allen. And it will go back to UConn. There'll be better days for Sherelle Allen. She's having a rough night tonight. 2 for 14 from the floor. Muffet McGraw and Gina Auriemma between them. It adds up to 1,136 wins as Charles gets 2 more points. And Muffet won her national championship in 2001. Gino, of course, has won 5. They're the only Big East schools who have won national titles so far.
It's a lot of wins.
At least they kept it in the family.
Yeah. I was going to say.
Big East teams won 4 straight national championships. There's Allen called for the foul.
It's a lot of wins, a lot of championships for 2 kids from Philadelphia, huh?
Right.
Third personal foul on Allen.
So we mentioned Muffet was a terrific player at St. Joe's.
Number 20.
She was a great high school coach at Archbishop Carroll in Philadelphia. And then when she began coaching in the collegiate ranks, followed Gino Auriemma to Jim Foster's staff at St. Joe's. And then her first head coaching job was at Lehigh, where she was 88-41, and she came to South Bend in 1987 and has been there ever since. She's had 16 20-win seasons, including 12 of the last 13. She's had 2 30-win seasons and has gone to the NCAA tournament 13 times, including the last 11 years. On the right green. She's also a very good golfer.
Is she, Muffet? Yep. All right. I'm not
very good golfer.
That.
Yeah, next time we have to ask Gino who's a better golfer.
Well, she's fiercely competitive.
On the right, Montgomery. No good, and Montgomery hits the deck, so she'll get to shoot 3. 4:23 remaining. The UConn lead is 18.
Third personal foul.
The Huskies hit the road Cincinnati Tuesday night, 7 o'clock on CPTV from 5th Third Arena. And then next Saturday night, Marquette.
Write that on your hand.
Of course, when we get there, you'll see there's a statue outside the building, the most famous Bearcat of them all, one Oscar Robertson. One of the great collegiate players and one of the great NBA players in the history of the sport. He actually averaged a triple-double one season in the NBA. Averaged a triple-double.
That's ridiculous. You know, we were talking before about the last time a triple-double occurred at UConn. You know,
you had a good view of it.
Yeah, my teammate Laura Lishnas, who, when you talk about the great players that have played here, her name doesn't often get mentioned, but perhaps one of the most talented players to ever play here from Bristol.
It's great, one of the great athletes too. Irwin hits the left side 3.
Could grab the rim at 5'10".
Irwin with 11 points. It's only her 3rd double-figure scoring game of the year, 15th of her career. Charles is 1 block shot away from that triple-double. 10 points, 10 rebounds, 9 blocks, make it 12 points. She's got 6 double-doubles. That's the most by a UConn freshman since Svetlana Abrosimova. And all Svetlana was UConn's first 3-time first-team All-American. Allen, again, a little out of her comfort zone. She's had no easy shots. And that's why she is now 2 of 16. Away from the play, Benita Spence. I think she spots some blood on the right hand of Tina Charles, so they'll clean that up. In the meantime, we will step aside. UConn looking for an 8-0 start in the Big East for the 9th time in its history.
Save this Sunday for battle and betrayal, for power and for passion. Save this Sunday for nature and Masterpiece Theater. Starting Sunday night at 8 on CPTV with Nature, Rhinoceros, followed at 9 by Masterpiece Theater, Jane Eyre.
Thought you were talking about the Bears and the Colts there. That will be a week from Sunday. Super Bowl 41 should be very, very entertaining. Of course, when we got back from New York, Madison Square Garden last Sunday, I don't know about you, I sat down and watched the last half of that Patriots-Colts thriller. What a game that was. More twists and turns than episode of Dynasty. Well, Tina Charles might be done for the night. If so, she's going to come up 1 block shy. Only 1 player in Big East history ever got the triple-double with the points, rebounds, blocks combination. It was Chris Palumbi for Syracuse. She had 20 points, 18 rebounds, 14 block shots against Georgetown on January 13th, 1984. Held ball, arrow pointing toward the Irish.
Yeah, and Laura Licious' triple-double came by points, rebounds, and assists, right?
Yep. Yeah. 12 assists, 14 points, 10 rebounds. Houston will sit down. Of course, now Laura was your teammate on the first Final Four team, right?
Yes.
91?
Yep. She was a senior on that team. She and Carrie Bascom, who...
Wendy Davis.
Yeah. Debbie Bear.
Inside. Nice use of the left hand by Williamson, fouled by McLaren. Williamson played her first 3 years of high school basketball at Honeoye Falls, Lima. That's in Rochester. Then her last year at South Mecklenburg High School in North Carolina.
It's amazing, of all the great players that have come out of the state of North Carolina and all the great players who have played at Notre Dame, she is the first Notre Dame player from the state of North Carolina.
Gets the friendly rim on that one. So she's got a dozen points tonight. She's in double figures for the 4th time this year. Career high 15 points against Prairie View.
Well, this kid is just due for an outstanding career. She's one of those kids that makes other people better. She's got a great positive attitude. She wants to get better.
Soigné with 2.5 minutes remaining. Notre Dame still, and now finally Notre Dame coming out playing the man-to-man, which you pretty much have to do when you're down 17 with 2 minutes to go. Thomas picks up the dribble, guarded by the much taller Irwin. Tahira Williams on the left. Shot clock down to 4. Thomas baseline jumper. Rebound inside, knocked out of bounds by McLaren. Jackie Fernandez will get in for UConn. 5'9" freshman from Pawcatuck, Connecticut. Mel Thomas will sit down and get some instructions from her Hall of Fame coach. Again, Mel back in her hometown in Cincinnati on Tuesday night to play the Bearcats. We'll have it for you 7 o'clock here on CPTV. Cross-court steal, Soigné. She's 7th in the Big East in steals. Can't finish. Fernandez with the rebound, and she'll circle the wagons and work on some clock.
And UConn photographer Bob Stoll took a hit.
Well, he's tough. He got his tetanus shot back in the preseason. He's good to go. He'll play the full 40 every time. Gardler on the right. Soigné leaves for McLaren. And McLaren will go to the line as Williamson falls down in a heap.
That's where Soigné is just so good, getting in the gaps. And she makes so many of her teammates better because she finds them the ball, puts it where all Kylie's got to do is catch and just go towards the rim.
First trip to the line this evening for McLaren, freshman from Washington, D.C. Substitution Notre Dame. Allen back in and Barlow back in. Oh, Muffet McGraw has only 10 healthy players, and it's an 8-player rotation. Of course, we've seen a lot of that, haven't we? As we our travels
teams,
around the Big East, so many
decimated
teams are decimated by injuries. They have just so few players.
And it's proof that you got to have so many things go right for you, and one of those things you have to stay healthy, and included within that is you got to get lucky.
Right. Yet another reason why this concept of eliminating the male practice players is just such nonsense.
Ridiculous.
Otherwise, the coaches are going to have to get out there and practice themselves. Leitner with the miss, and what are you going to do? Practice 4-on-4 and then play the game 5-on-5?
Right. And trust me, you don't want to see Chris Daly suit up.
Right. Some people just don't have anything better to do with their time. Well, let's change this.
This is working. Oh, okay, let's change it.
Soigné. Down low, Cassie Kearns, of course, who is from Indiana, from Valparaiso. Rebound, Williamson. She's knocked to the floor. Tahira Williams.
Forgetting that you can't stand up. And the crowd is booing, but the rule does state that if you catch the ball while you're on the ground, you can't stand up.
It's 27th turnover for Gino Auriemma's club. So with 38 seconds to go, the field goals are never going to catch up to the turnovers. Now Muffet McGraw will bring in her 9th and 10th players.
She called a timeout there, but strictly for the purposes of that substitution.
Amanda Sippis, number 11. Her uncle Jonathan is an assistant coach for the Irish. And number 31, Danielle Ben-Svulin. There's Amanda Sippis. And Ben Svulin is a freshman from Fort Wayne, Indiana. 11th game of the year for Sippis, the 10th for Ben Svulin. As Barlow gets the roll, shot clock is off. So UConn is going to go 8-0 in the Big East for the 9th time in its history. And they are going to beat Notre Dame for the 4th consecutive time and for the 20th time in 24 meetings. So the Huskies do maintain sole possession of first place in the Big East at 8-0. They are 1 game ahead of Marquette at 7-1. And those two teams are headed for a showdown next Saturday night in Milwaukee. The two very good friends from the Philadelphia area congratulating each other on a well-fought battle, if not particularly well played. And you saw that graphic. The Huskies have been so dominant at home, 128 of their last 130 in conference play. To those of you who have been watching on CSTV, we wish you good night. To those of you watching on CPTV, we will return to Gamble Pavilion to wrap things up right after this. Bob Picozzi back at Gamble Pavilion, where UConn has extended its winning streak to 4 with a 64-47 win over Notre Dame. Big game for freshman Tina Charles. 12 points, 10 rebounds, and she ties the school record with 9 blocked shots. She's with Megan Kumo.
Bob, thank you very much. Yeah, Bob just said your numbers. I don't know if you're aware of them. 12 points, 10 rebounds, and you had 9 blocks. You were 1 away from a triple-double. And are you aware that that ties a UConn high for a single game? Rebecca Lobo, Kelly Schumacher, the only 2 other players to have 9 blocks in a game. Pretty good company for you as a freshman, huh?
Yeah, that's remarkable. I mean, it's unbelievable. But, you know, we just had to go out there and play defense. Like, Coach always gets on me about being aggressive, being in the lane, just blocking shots. So that's what I try to do today.
Well, and typical him, early on, you know, in the beginning of the season, he was saying that you don't play defense and block shots. So I hope you'll remind him of that after this game.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an answer. But, you know, I'm just going to have to keep that consistent.
Well, we were joking before. This was one of the most bizarre played games. What did it feel like to play in a game like this?
You know, it was a lot of, you know, calling going on. We had 15 turnovers at halftime. You know, it was kind of bad, but I think we picked it up in the second half.
Well, CD mentioned at halftime in my interview with her about needing to get it into the lane to you big guys. Do you feel better with the way you guys did that in the second half?
Yeah, but then they also put an emphasis about us, you know, like stop dribbling the lane, stop dribbling the ball in the lane. And, you know, we just have to keep on working on that time after time. So.
Well, we've talked a little bit this year about the play of Kalena Green. Talk a little bit about Kalena and what it's like to play alongside someone like her, especially when she's flying in to grab those offensive rebounds.
It's real good. You know, she keeps me out of trouble sometimes if I don't block out my girl. But she's doing good. I mean, I used to play against her during AAU, and she's a remarkable player. I mean, I just love playing with her. You know, we talk a lot on the court. She's always there for me. She helps me out, especially on the board. So it's going good.
Halfway through your freshman season, is this what you expected so far?
Yeah, I expected this and a little bit more, and I'm just going to keep that going into the Big East tournament and everything.
All right. Good luck the rest of the way, Tina. Thank you very much. Bob?
All right, Megan, thank you very much. Besides the 12 points, 10 rebounds, 9 block shots for Tina Charles, Kalena Green had 10 points and 7 rebounds. Her 14th double-figure scoring game of the year and her 6th in a row. Sharday Houston had 9 points and 10 rebounds. That is her 2nd double-figure rebounding game of the season and 7th of her career. UConn did not take very good care of the basketball. 27 turnovers, a season high. In fact, they had 6 more turnovers than field goals. For Notre Dame, the leading scorer, Erica Williamson, 12 points, 8 rebounds. Crystal Irwin had 11 points. Irish shot 24%. Notre Dame falls to 13-7, 4-3 in the Big East. Visits Pitt on Wednesday. UConn 18-2, 8-0 in the Big East. Visit Cincinnati Tuesday. You'll see it at 7 o'clock here on CPTV. For Megan Pattison-Kumo, I'm Bob Picozzi. Once again, the final score, UConn 64, Notre Dame 47. The preceding has been a presentation of Connecticut Public Television. Stay tuned for ABBA and the Dixie Chicks.